Hey, welcome to Dow Stock Talk, where I talk about different topics relating to finance and investing, but more specifically, the stock market. Now, in this video, I'll be going over different investment opportunities. Stay tuned. First up, you know you're going to have my favorite, of course, stocks. So when you invest in a stock, you're investing into an individual company's ownership, and they refer to it as a share. So stocks can be considered risky because if anything was to happen to the individual company, you could end up seeing it in the share price, which means the stock would end up going down. But the upside is that if the individual company succeeds and flourish, you can see substantial gains. And by the way, if you're a stock fan, make sure you drop one of your favorite companies that you like to invest in the comments below. I'm always curious to see different types of companies that individuals end up wanting to invest or individuals end up liking. Next up, this is risk-free to little risk. I would say CDs and high-yield savings accounts. So CDs and high-yield savings account is where you can end up putting your money and getting a little interest. Now, the thing I would like to say, the key difference between a CD and a high yield savings account is with the CD, there's a set rate for a period of time. Now, the only disadvantage about the CD, if you need the money before then, you won't get the interest and some have a penalty. With the high yield savings account, it can vary. It depends on the interest rate. So if the interest rates end up going down, you'll see a smaller interest, which in money in which you would end up gaining. But on the flip side, the thing that I could end up saying is you can have access to your money at any time. Brief interruption. Make sure if you really enjoyed this content, you hit the like button because it helps the YouTube algorithm and it helps YouTube know that this is quality content. Well, another investment opportunity is bonds. So there's two types of bonds. There's corporate bonds and there's government bonds. So the thing about corporate bonds is they typically tend to be a little bit more risky, and government bonds are, you can consider like really safe. Both are what I consider a conservative investment, but I just wanted to let you know the difference. Now, the thing about bonds, what you're actually doing is you're lending your money for normally a set amount of interest, what they normally refer to as a yield. So typically speaking, the higher your yield is, the riskier the bond is going to be. Because in order to normally get a higher yield, you end up lending the money to companies that may not have a good track record, or you can consider it as a bad credit score if you want to think about that. So bonds is an option. To me, I think it's a relatively conservative option, but that is an option for you. Okay, next up we have ETFs. So ETFs is exchange traded funds. Now the good thing about ETFs is if you wanted to get into the stock market and you're a beginner, to me, this would be a good start. So ETFs is a group of securities or stocks that's put together that can trade like an individual stock. Good thing about an ETF is you can pretty much get an ETF in anything, any type of genre or sector, anything from healthcare to tech, to transportation, all kinds of stuff. So ETFs is an investment opportunity that you can choose from. Another opportunity investors have are mutual funds. So mutual funds are for people who don't pretty much want to get too involved. You let a professional institution end up buying securities, whether it's bonds, stocks, or whatever. Mutual funds, people normally maybe contribute monthly or something like that. The thing about mutual funds, if you want to trade them, you have to trade, they only trade it one time a day towards the end of the day. That's one of the options that you end up having. I do want to mention that the main difference between ETFs and mutual funds is with ETFs, you can end up buying and selling throughout the day, where mutual funds, the trade is only executed one time a day. But I just wanted to let you know that is an option. I would like to say this seems to be a crowd favorite, real estate. So with real estate, you can either end up flipping houses or renting out property. I definitely wanted to mention this because this is a crowd favorite and a lot of individuals end up building wealth from real estate. So real estate is an option that you can choose from. Another opportunity you have are REITs, real estate investment trust funds. So REITs is normally when you have a pool of investors, you can end up, grouping all the money together, and then you have a firm or institution who goes out and renovate property, flip houses, and rent out the properties. They can do commercial to multi-family, all different types of things. Another thing you have is you have two different types, public and private. So publics, they're normally exchanged on a regular exchange like the New York Stock Exchange, where you can like buy them and sell them. Now private REITs, they're a little bit more confined, where you can't, it's not that easy, or it could be a little bit more difficult to have it liquidated. One, private real estate, if you are interested in, I did a video on it. It's from Fundrise. So Fundrise is an option. If you want to check that out, you can just check out on the video above. Okay, next up is another option. You have commodities. So these are not personally my favorite because they kind of heavily based off of supply and demand, but you can invest in commodities like gold and silver. Those are like the classic. Oil, tea, sugar, all types of things. Now you may be thinking, okay, if I wanted to invest in oil, how am I going to buy a barrel of oil? Well, the good thing about it is they have ETFs with all different types of commodities that you can end up investing in. So if you could just do a quick search for like oil ETFs or sugar ETF or coal ETFs, and I'm pretty sure they will provide a lot of great ones to you. But commodities is an option. Once again, they normally have precious metals. Gold and silver are a very popular one, especially during uncertain times. And a lot of times people use buying gold and silver to fight against inflation. Cost of sales and goods end up going up. So that is an option. Another opportunity you can use are options. So options are contracts that allow you to buy and sell a certain security at a certain price. Now you're not obligated to, but you have the hint option to do so. So I would not recommend options for beginners. Typically speaking, it's a lot more other things that you need to know. So people who normally trade options normally have a little bit more experience in investing. So I definitely would let you know you do have that option to invest in options. I just wanted to let you know another option is peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer lending allows you to end up providing loans to your peers or individuals. So normally they have peer-to-peer lending platforms, which is the middleman that allows the transactions to go a little smoothly. So the risk level depends on the individual. Normally they provide that information for you. And some of the popular platforms in which you can end up using are LendingForm, Prosper, Peerform. So these are different ones. I'm just throwing it out there. So I'm not telling you to, which one specifically to go to. But they do have one that I actually did a video on. It's Groundfloor. So that's specifically providing loans for people who are interested into real estate. So that is an option. I just wanted to let you know. Another opportunity you have is to invest in startups, companies that are in the earliest stages. These are opportunities where you can get huge growth. You can get huge returns because there's a good chance of huge growth, especially if the company end up prospering. So the good thing about startups, if you wanted to invest in, they have platforms in which you can use. Some of the platforms are Investor Hunt, they have Republic, and they also have AngelList. So these are platforms in which you can use. And by the way, I know this is the most obvious one. You can start your own business. And if you needed to raise capital, you can do so on these particular platforms. So I definitely wanted to let you know that you can invest in startups also as a investment opportunity. Another option you have, this may consider more on the risky side, is cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency is digital currency that is not controlled by the federal government. So if you think in the future that may be a problem and you want finite currency which cannot be generated more, like once you have the set amount, cryptocurrency could be an option, especially if it becomes heavily adopted by the general public. You can see huge gains or acquire huge gains from cryptocurrency. And in my next video, I'll be going over how to manage your risk. And this concludes the video. Make sure you hit the like button because I really appreciate that. And any questions that you have, make sure you drop in the comments below and I'll try to answer it.